Oh, here we go. Don't mind me. Just another eventless week in Philadelphia. I think it's been a bit of a quiet week, hasn't it, actually? Nothing really of note's happened in the last 7 days. Just to prove a point, hey Siri, what's happened in the last week of Philadelphia sports?
Nothing. Wayne Simmonds was traded. Bryce Harper signs with the Phillies forever. Nick Foles is gone. The Eagles resign 2 players and you say nothing. Go outside, Liam Jenkins. Get a life.
Right, that was uncalled for. Best we're gonna get into it then, haven't we? Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of This Week in Philadelphia Sports with myself, Liam Jenkins, where if you hadn't guessed, we go over everything from the last 7 days. And what an actual week it's been. Last week, literally nothing happened. And then in a space of about 72 hours, the whole world caught on fire. There's only one way for us to start, and that has to be Brycington of Harperville signing with the Philadelphia Phillies. 13 years. How in 13 years, I might even grow facial hair. I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves here, but 13 years is a very long time. So to see Bryce Harper, pen to paper, $330 million, what a move for the franchise that truly is. A team that already had a fantastic offseason by getting guys like Real Muto and solidifying their pitching area. Now we're actually going to see what this team's capable of with a star once again. We have not seen a team this decorated, I don't think, since the 2008 World Series, and that's not even a hot take. I mean, they are the first franchise to lose 10,000 games, which they gave the Sixers a run for their money, so fair play to them on that front. But the signing of Bryce Harper is absolutely monumental. There are no opt-outs, no trade clauses, 13 years of pure Big Bryce and his big bat dingers. I don't know what else you can say other than that is absolutely phenomenal. Oh, now I came prepared. All right, we've got a little guitar here. So, do I play? Do I play guitar? Oh, does he play guitar? I mean, it doesn't even have a string on the bottom. That's gone, actually, so needs some work there. But here's something I wrote for. It's my song for Bryce, so all of the credit. What are the chords again? Every breath you take, every move you make, yeah. Every home you make, every field you rake. So, do you have the time to listen to me? No. I think the one thing we can safely say is that this signing has literally set the Philadelphia sports world on fire. The man needs no introduction. We don't need to talk about how incredible he is or how much this means to the city of Philadelphia, but this genuinely may be the biggest free agent signing in Philadelphia sports history. Now, I know there have been some big ones along the way. Mark Sanchez, for instance, was a fantastic one for the Eagles. And I'm actually excited for baseball. Now, as we've learned in previous videos, I don't know what's going on in the world of baseball. Other than there are slugs, you hit balls a lot, and you just kind of pick 3 letters at random and get up. He's got a ZQ4 of 0.7, which is better than the 1966 average of 12. So I'm going to order a Bryce Harper jersey. Maybe we'll give one away. I tell you what, if this video gets 500 likes, we will give away a Bryce Harper jersey. How does that sound? But we're going to move on to the Philadelphia Eagles, and their week started in a very different way. Instead of welcoming the embracing arms of Bryce Harper and his lovely little beard and his big hair and his little eyes, they said goodbye. They said goodbye to Nick Foles, which, shock horror, if you've ever listened or watched a podcast or done anything with regards to Philly Sports Network, you'll know that this unfortunately was always going to be the case. The Jalen Ramsey myths and the Leonard Fournette trades and the first, it was never going to happen. There was just no market there, and it's a real shame. There is that, again, I've said it a million times, it would have been well sorted. There is a league-wide consensus that Nick Foles isn't as special outside of Philadelphia. In that building, what he does is unquantifiable. What he does outside of Philadelphia is quantifiable, and it isn't held in as high regard as some of the other veterans I suppose are in that free agency class. And that's not diminishing his accomplishments, it's just saying that as a quarterbacking perspective, that teams feel that 25 million tag alone would be a lot to take on, let alone the fact they're then parting with a mid-round pick, or even more so, to even make it worthwhile for the Eagles to do. So the Eagles say goodbye to Nick Foles, and it is an emotional goodbye. The man is one of the most iconic figures in Philadelphia sports history by this point, and when you look at his career, when you look at what he's achieved, from the Super Bowl win to the resurgence to his initial entrance into Canton with that 7-touchdown game against the Oakland Raiders, it's really hard to put a cap on this. It feels like it's a chapter that should never end, and if we're all in our feelings. I think we've all got something in our hearts that reminds us of that. Genuinely, I think we can all wish Nick Foles the best. For me, this raises a very different question, and that is how confident are the Eagles in Nate Sudfeld? Because Nate the Great is now a pending free agent. So do the Eagles bring him back? Because at this point, if they don't, you've got 2 quarterback vacancies. And there was a report that came out during the NFL Combine that the Eagles are looking at a veteran backup to fill in for Nick Foles. I've got 2 opinions on this. One, is Carson Wentz at an age where he needs a veteran backup or a mentor, someone to hold a clipboard and tell him, well, you threw that interception and that went to the wrong guy? Or is he past that now, and is he at the stage going into his contract year, he's more of a leader? If the Eagles are genuinely considering bringing in a backup quarterback, why would Nate Sudfeld want to resign? Surely he wants to progress. He's been with this team for 2 years. He's been QB3. He's had experience now at the NFL level, throwing his first touchdown against the Washington Redskins. Why wouldn't he believe in himself to step up and take that role? However, if the team do resign Sudfeld and they keep him and elevate him to QB2, then what we're going to see is the Eagles bring in another project quarterback, because that would be a sign that that conveyor belt of developmental arms that Doug Peterson has tried so hard to get going since his arrival in Philadelphia has come true. It's worked. It's come to absolute fruition. I genuinely, though, wouldn't write off Nick Foles coming back. If he tests free agency waters and he can't get a guaranteed starting role, then why wouldn't he return? Let's be brutally honest here. His family are in Philadelphia. His kids probably are going to be looking at a future there. Would he risk moving all the way to Florida, where you could just go to Disney? I mean, I would. I've never been to Disneyland. Maybe that's worth the attraction. But it is a sizable move for a man to take his family from one side of the country to the other for what could be more instability if that team is looking to draft an eventual replacement for him anyway. Foles has been in that situation before. He wants to start and earn and keep that main role. If he can't get that, why wouldn't he stay where he knows what the comfort zone is? He's going to be a backup. He knows the team, he knows the coaching staff, the city, the environment, and he's loved there. Don't write off a Nick Foles return. Elsewhere, though, the Eagles made 2 more moves this week. One of them was bringing back veteran pass rusher Brandon Graham on a 3-year deal. And for me, this deal could not have come soon enough. I was surprised it actually happened after he'd almost been neglected for 4 years in a row. When you look at Brandon Graham's career, he's seen Vinny Curry being overpaid and then cut, all while he's broken out. Then he posts a 9.5 sack season, doesn't get paid, then the team draft Derek Barnett, then the team go and draft Josh Sweat. He's just not had a good run. I think to finally get that validation, to stay in Philadelphia, to keep that stability on the pass rush is absolutely vital. Jim Schwartz relies on that rotation so much, and Graham has played 16 games in 6 of his last 7 years. Now, without reciting too much of that previous video, he is one of the most productive, most consistent pass rushers in getting quarterback hurries, in getting the signal caller off his spot, which allows those guys like Fletcher Cox to clean up and have the breakout seasons they do. So BG is an important part of this, and keeping him around for 3 more years not only gives the Eagles flexibility to groom that potential replacement, who's probably going to be Derek Barnett, but also ticks off a massive need. Defensive end was going to be a key need coming into this offseason. It frees up those draft assets to really invest elsewhere, maybe defensive tackle, maybe wide receiver, or finally, maybe even a mid-round to a high-round running back. And finally, on the Eagles front this week, they also signed Jason Kelce to a 1-year deal. And this came literally, I was on my lunch break, I was typing up an article in the NFL Combine, I went to clock back in, I hit the button to clock in, alright, and would you believe it, literally the second I clocked in, I get the notification through, Kelce signs a 1-year deal. Fantastic! Somehow I got 300 words out typed in about 4 minutes, so the old gun show there just coming into foray. But genuinely, that is an amazing move. Jason Kelce is probably the most athletic center in the NFL, the most talented, I would argue, and the most valuable piece on that Eagles offensive line. And now you are looking at a scenario, believe it or not, where Lane Johnson, Jason Kelce, and Jason Peters could all be playing together 1 more year, which a few months ago was almost entirely out of the question. So that is incredible to see that 3 of the 5 cogs on an NFL offensive line that was heralded the NFL's best just 1.5 seasons ago is now back for one last rodeo. So will Jason Kelce eventually retire? I think he's going to retire an Eagle, there's no doubt about that, but giving him that 1-year deal just maybe opens up a whole new pathway for him where he can see if this is something he wants to commit to further down the line. It's a great move for the Eagles, more importantly because offensive line depth was going to be a massive need going into this offseason. We didn't know if Isaac Seumalo was going to move to centre, whether he was ready to be a starting centre, or whether that push back to left guard during the benching of Stefan Wisniewski was going to cause major complications, because now the only offensive guard depth is Seumalo, Wiz, Warmack and Matt Pryor. We don't know if Warmack's going to come back. We don't know what the future holds for Wisniewski, who's wanted a starting role for 3 years and keeps being demoted out of it. We genuinely don't know. The Eagles needed guard depth, and now being able to move Seumalo back to that left guard spot or back to filling in for Brandon Brooks on the other side, it just alleviates that pressure somewhat, and again frees up those assets to maybe fill some more viable holes in this offseason. As for the Philadelphia Flyers, of course, they parted ways with Wayne Simmonds literally a day after last week's episode. So thanks for that, guys. You know, could have had a load of views, but you had to go and just wait one more at the deadline. So, oh, that is not nice coffee. But this was a move the Flyers simply had to make. Simmonds, in his contract year, they didn't know what the future held. You had to cash in now before just losing him for nothing. And Simmonds is a valuable piece. We've learned that. And getting Ryan Hartman, someone that's still very young, just under the age of 25 years old, that's now had the chance to be developed by 2 teams and a former first-round pick, it's a great get. Now, he's nowhere near as physical as Wayne Simmonds, although he made quite the entrance in his debut for the Flyers. But with 10 goals and 10 assists on the season before joining the orange and clad team, I really don't think it's that much to expect that he could be a sizable piece in this team moving forward. The Flyers did well to get some compensation out of this. It was kind of a late lust move. I don't think this is as bad as people are making out. You're never going to get an all-star in exchange for Wayne Simmonds, not that late in the season, for what is essentially a 6-month rental. And we have Philadelphia Union news this week, where they opened their MLS campaign and lost 3-1 to Toronto. So that has started in a dream fashion. I mean, hot take, I think the Philadelphia Union have the nicest stadium in all of Philadelphia sports. The view you have looking into that river, because I've attended it several times, I just think it's glorious. And if you haven't attended a Philadelphia Union game, do go chat with the Sons of Ben fan club. They are incredible. Massive shout out to those guys, but do go and attend. Soccer is growing. And then, hey, you think if you get into soccer, you can sing It's Coming Home With Me in 4 years in 2022, when Bryce Harper will still be a Philly and I still won't have facial hair. The Sixers, meanwhile, they lost to the Warriors and have been winning and losing games. No real drama on that side, but Boban got an injury. That was bad. He seems to be okay. Everything's all right. I mean, the Sixers for 2 weeks now just been all right, really. So that's the end of that. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, guys. If you are new around here, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button so I know you like this content. We're going to have an Eagles film room coming out next week, as well as some more prospect stuff, hopefully a combine recap as well. We want to build the biggest hub of Philadelphia sports fans, and we need your help to do it. So please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm sat in darkness, and yeah, from myself, Liam Jenkins, follow me on Twitter at LiamJenkins21. I'll see you next time. Every time we go, one thing in common is his turning mind, she said. She got a boyfriend anyway. All he seemed to do is talk about Bryce Harper. So